Welcome to the Board Treasurer role for your CASA program, and thank you for your service. Treasurers provide critical support for the financial management of the organization and set a tone of integrity for the agency. We appreciate you for joining us to learn about the 6 key aspects of this important leadership role, as well as strategies for how to be an effective board treasurer within a CASA agency. Goal 1. Become familiar with your program's financial landscape. As you become oriented to your role, make a note to learn more about the following. Get a bird's eye view of the organization's current funds, as well as any outstanding bills and debts owed. A good way to get to know the financials for your program is to carefully review the following: the CASA program's annual budget, the organization's bank statements from the last 12 months, the coverage amounts and persons covered for the program's fidelity bond, which is a form of insurance protection that covers losses incurred as a result of fraud or theft. Your program's fidelity bond must cover an amount at least equal to your combined CVC and VOCA funding. The organization's financial policies. These policies are developed jointly by staff and the Board Finance Committee and are approved by the entire board. The complexity of these policies will vary by organizational size, but every organization, from brand new to well-established, must have financial policies. Texas CASA has templates, and samples are available upon request. Become knowledgeable of federal and state grant awards and allocations for your CASA program. Texas CASA provides pass-through funding through Crime Victims Compensation or CVC funds and Victims of Crime Act or VOCA funds based on funding formulas. In addition, we have competitive grant opportunities. Each grant has allowable and unallowable expenses as well as an approved budget for how the funds will be used. Part of your role will be to ensure that the grant funds are being spent just as they were approved. Keep in mind that the program's Texas CASA funds must be less than 70% of the program's total revenue. Get to know the Texas CASA standards that may apply to the role of the treasurer. Standard 5A, 7-9. 7. Evaluates the management's handling of the CASA-GAL program's financial affairs. 8. Reviews financial reports at least quarterly, comparing actual versus budgeted expenditures and revenues. 9. Examines and approves the program's audited financial statements, operating budget, and fiscal policies. Goal 2. Chair the Finance Committee. It is common practice for the treasurer to chair the Board Finance Committee. The role of the Finance Committee is primarily to provide financial oversight for the organization. Typical tasks for the Finance Committee include budgeting and financial planning, financial reporting, and the creation and monitoring of internal controls and accountability policies. The treasurer typically stewards this critical work. This committee should do most of the heavy lifting in terms of budget development, creating and approving financial policies, and oversight. The committee must alert the entire board to financial issues, provide objective financial reporting at each meeting, and ensure that financial information provided is transparent and accessible. While the chair of this committee must be well-versed in all things financial, other members need not possess deep financial knowledge. Serving on this committee is a great way for new and even veteran members to learn financial basics. This committee is responsible for reviewing the budget and ensuring funds are spent according to approved expenses, as well as ensuring that the revenue the program budgeted for is received as planned. It's important to note that grant funds are paid out as reimbursements for approved expenses. This means that you have to spend money in order to receive it. In other words, the program must have the capital to cover costs up front and then be reimbursed. So it's key to maintain and continually build up a reserve amount of funds for this purpose. Goal 3. Create strong oversight guardrails. A treasurer provides important, ongoing oversight for the financial management of the organization. It's important to develop and enforce strong internal controls and day-to-day financial management practices. Once you've become familiar with the program's policies, compare the financial policies and procedures to program practice to ensure policies are being carefully implemented. Keep track of who has access to your program's bank account and credit cards, and ensure credit card spending limits are in writing and signed by authorized users. Reconcile or review reconciled bank statements on a monthly basis as required by CASA standards. A useful tool for practicing good financial oversight is the Internal Control Questionnaire. Make sure there's always a second pair of eyes on the process of receiving funds, depositing funds, and expending funds. Goal 4. Support strong budget development. Budgets are the financial version of a strategic plan. As the treasurer, you're in the best position to ensure that budget priorities and decisions reflect the mission of the organization. Each year, work with your program leadership to assist in developing the annual budget and facilitate its presentation to the board for review. The board must approve the program budget prior to the beginning of the new fiscal year. The budget must be balanced, ensuring that there is adequate revenue to cover all expected expenses. Expenses should be based on actuals plus growth increases and should reflect the priorities of the organization outlined in the strategic plan. Regularly monitor the budget and compare actual expenses against budgeted expenses. The treasurer also presents a financial report for the board's review at every board meeting. For some programs, the board treasurer prepares this financial report, while at other programs, this report might be prepared by an outside source or staff bookkeeper and presented by the board treasurer. The following financial information, at a minimum, should be included in the board packet. Statement of financial position, aka balance sheet. Statement of activities, aka income statement. Cash flow projection. Current annual budget, usually presented with statement of activities. The Finance Committee must regularly review these statements. At board meetings, more summarized information can be shared with members. However, the information must sufficiently detail the financial picture. The Treasurer and Finance Committee must provide written reports on the state of the organization's finances and highlight any areas of concern. Goal 5. Ensure accurate financial reporting. Another critical role of the board treasurer is to ensure accurate and complete financial reporting and proper maintenance of financial records and tax returns. Timely and reliable financial information is the underpinning of good stewardship and sound financial decision-making. It's important that you are involved in the audit process. To help ensure a productive auditing process, the auditor must be vetted and hired by the board and not by the executive director. In addition, throughout the process, the auditing team reports directly to the board, typically to the treasurer, and may be invited to a board meeting to review the completed audit. Staff's role is to support the auditing team by supplying needed information and documentation. Any audit recommendations should be immediately implemented. Keep a calendar of filing requirements and deadlines, and ensure the tasks have been clearly delegated. Follow up to confirm the completion on the annual 990 form in a timely manner. Ensure all tax payments are made on schedule. Apprise the board of key financial events, trends, and concerns. As a part of your program's quality assurance review, the board treasurer will meet with the Texas CASA reviewer during the on-site visit. Goal 6. Serve as the financial liaison to the board. As the board treasurer, you may need to translate financial concepts and information for board members who do not have financial backgrounds. Encourage the board's strategic thinking about the short and long-term financial vitality of the organization in relation to its advancement of the organization's mission. Work with your board chair to recruit additional financial expertise. It's best practice for every board to have 2 financial superstars who, at a minimum, know how to read financials, develop and monitor budgets, and manage cash flow. The kind of financial experience required will vary based on the needs of your CASA program. For example, a brand new program may need a CPA or someone with equivalent experience. However, a more established program that has investments may also need someone to help manage and oversee the organization's financial portfolio. Advocate for meaningful financial training for your board on an annual basis. Most likely, not all board members will feel comfortable or competent interpreting financial statements or conducting a budget review. Thus, it's important that financial literacy training be provided to members in regular doses. The goal of these trainings is to develop a baseline level of knowledge that members can use to assess the organization's financial stability. Welcome and encourage questions from board members and provide prompt follow-up on any additional information requested. A culture of inquiry will be one way to protect and preserve the organization's financial health. As you navigate your role as board treasurer, be wary of these potential traps to avoid. Neglecting to wisely limit access to and control of the organization's funds. Failing to keep and share with the board accurate and timely financial records. Treating the Form 990 merely as a financial report and not a critical marketing communication. Giving legal advice or tax advice to donors about the deductibility of contributions. Not following your internal control/financial policies. Thanks so much for taking this time to learn about how to be a powerhouse board treasurer for your CASA program. We appreciate your dedication and your service to children and families in your community.